is going down, Ellipsis Podcast fam? What is going on? It's been a minute, but we are back. We are loud and we are proud, and I am so freaking excited to dive into this new topic for the month because we are talking about relationships this month, and oh my Lord, I have been slammed with so many topics. Y'all have no idea. So just, preparing all of this has been so much fun and a lot of pressure because, this is a really big topic and I don't talk about it enough, and it needs to be talked about. There are so many things that need to be said, and it feels like many of us going through these relationships and situationships and all these different types of relationships, we feel like we're on our own or alone, or, that we can't talk about it because we're trying to live, a good life, a narrow path, straight life, which is great and amazing. But guys, these are the things we have to talk about. All right. It happens. We're human. This is life. And, it's something that has really been on my heart for a while. And yeah, we gonna talk about it today. So if you haven't already, grab those pens, grab those notepads, grab some snacks, and put on some comfy PJs and comfortable clothes because we about to dive in. And today, y'all, we are talking about settling. The big settling. Okay, so I gotta be real, and this is gonna be raw. I'm gonna be real. My generation and the generation before me, I have never seen so many people, including myself at one point, settling. And my generation and the generation before me, we are settling more than ever before. And, and there's so many different reasons as to why. It's because, we're afraid to be alone, or we're afraid to get to know someone new, or we're afraid because we become extremely comfortable because that person has known us and they know us like, the back of our hand, the back of their hand. They know us, and we know them. And so, we've become comfortable. We don't want to change, or we feel like change is just too much work, And so in the midst of settling like that, one of the biggest things is that area of being comfortable. And when we're trying to be comfortable, and something kind of shakes it up a little bit. The problem is that it's a very dangerous game. Because you have to understand, a lot of us, when we get into these relationships, it's with people we've known forever. It's with people that, we're connected to through friends, etc., college, high school, middle school, a job, etc. But you've basically known these people for a really long time. And we've become, when we get into those type of situations, we become comfortable because it's like, I've known you all my life. You've dealt with me. You've seen me at my worst. You've seen me at my best. And even though I've grown out of you, I'm scared that nobody is going to accept me because of everything that I've done and been through the past couple of years that you've been beside me. And so we get into this mind frame of, okay, this is good enough. But no, we don't want to get to the end of our lives and go, okay, yes, this was good enough, but then we get to end our lives and God shows us, man, look what you could have had. This is what you could have had. This is what happened. This is what you were given based on your choices, based on everything. This was your life. And then he shows you what you could have had. All the things that you missed, all the blessings that you missed because you decided that you wanted to settle in this certain area. And we think that, oh, it's not a big deal. My career is popping. My money is popping. I'm beautiful, or I'm handsome. And I got these clothes. I got these connections. I'm good. And we think because us ourselves are doing well, that that's really all that God wanted for us. And we go into this mindset of it's all about me, when really, what does God really want for your life? And are you being completely open and vulnerable to being able to let him work through you 100% and give you everything that he has for you, you know? And so we meet those people in our lives from a young age, and we settle and we get comfortable, and we start to outgrow these people that we started off with at 21, 19, 24, etc. We that's when we meet them, and then we're growing, and you eventually, we outgrow them, and we get to this point where we hit this ceiling, and your growth is literally stunted. You can't grow anymore. The rest of the growth has to come from the separation, has to come from the departure, because there are only certain things that you can grow in by being alone and on your own. A part of the problem on top of our growth being stunted is we've been in these relationships so long, you end up staying in them, not realizing that the person that you were in love with, the person that you felt like and thought you were growing with, because for a certain period of time you were growing with them, but it's always going to hit that wall where when you're settling and that person that's next to you refuses to grow, and you're the one trying to run at 100 miles per minute, and that person is going 10 miles per hour, and you're together and you're trying to run. Okay, I want to do this. Let's do this. Let's go to the gym. Let's do this together. And the person's like, I'm not doing that. Eventually, you're going to get tired, because you're going to look back and you're going to want that person next to you, and you're going to be too afraid to let them go because you're so in love that you're going to settle, stunt your growth, and stay with somebody that you should have left years ago. So all that progression and things that you were supposed to take care of a long time ago, when it finally clicks in our heads, oh, okay, it's time to go. I need to go ahead and do something different. But this is where things get a little slippery. And this is why people end up going back to the same relationships over and over and over again. And you'll hear, oh, and then the toxicity becomes a quote unquote love story. So you've been with somebody for years, and then you go, okay, you know what? I want to experience something different. I feel like we've been together so long. All right, let's break up so we can make sure that we actually do really love each other and that we really want to be together, etc. I feel like I just want to grow and do, and kind of explore life a little bit. So you do that. Then you end up going back again because you go, oh man, that wasn't for me. But this is the thing. This is why you hear so many stories about people going back and forth in the same relationship, to where it's just toxic and you're just like, okay, this is annoying. And you start to see it on TV. You see it everywhere now. But the reason why that happens is because there's this point where when you are completely out of it, let's say you've been in a relationship with that person that you were settling with for like 2-3 years, things like that. All that progression that you were supposed to make while being single and while, experiencing that growth, it starts to hit all at one time. So God's like, okay, she's ready. Okay, he's ready. All right, move. We got to move because she needs to be here by this time. And he needs to be here by this time. We don't have that much time. All right, she's going to have to go through this. We it's going to be hard. It's going to be rocky, but she can handle it. Let's go. He can handle it. Let's go. And then you start getting hit left and right with all these different types of situations because you chose to leave. And people start to see that as a bad thing. They go, oh man, I'm dealing with this situation now. But the thing is like, you can't expect for the enemy not to come after you because you decided that you wanted more for yourself, because you decided that you wanted to grow in God and that you wanted to grow for yourself in your purpose and figure out what the heck I'm supposed to be doing in this life and who the heck I'm supposed to be with that's supposed to stretch and propel my purpose further than I ever thought possible. And because we end up seeing it as a bad thing, we end up going, oh no, this is not for me. Man, I was supposed to be with that person. I was supposed to be with them because now all these quote unquote bad things are happening to me. And now, but no, because you have to understand something. When you're growing, this is what growth feels like. This is what it feels like. Growth is the hardest thing we have to go through in life. One of the hardest things we have to go through in life, because we are stretched freaking like dough, y'all. We're stretched like dough. Y'all know this. And growth is uncomfortable, and we settle because we are accepted as we are. And therefore we no longer are required to grow. Now it's on an at-will basis. If we feel like growing, but then we wonder why we have you see all these successful women and all these successful men, and and they're single, they look amazing, they have high standards, and we refuse to lower them, and and literally this generation of people is starting to find that rare, and that's a problem, because these are not rare. What's rare, and the problem is, it's not that they're rare. What's rare is people willing to take on the challenge to grow. That's what's rare now. And so people are defining these successful women and men that are single, doing everything that they have to do and considering that rare. But the problem is that everybody is praying for a rare person. Everybody's praying for that successful woman. Everybody's praying for that successful man, but can't keep them. Why? Because you are unwilling to grow. And, we start looking to the left and we start looking to the right and we go, ooh, that's too challenging. Ooh, her standards are way too high. Ooh, his standards are way too high. He wants what? He wants me to do what? What? I got to go to church. I got what? And we go, I'm going to stay where I am. It's comfortable. Everything's working. Everything's good. No, I'm going to go ahead and settle. This is good enough. But then we look at the person that we're next to, that we're settling with, and go, oh my gosh, you get on my nerves. Oh my gosh, I just want to leave, but I can't but the thing is you don't really want it. You don't want it. We don't want it. If you're willing to sit there, look at the person and quote unquote be disgusted by the actions, the things that are going on, but you obviously are okay with that because you're not willing to change it. So, going forward, when you're seeing all these quote unquote rare people that you don't understand why they're single, or you don't understand why they're living their best life but don't have anybody next to them. Oh, something must be wrong with you because you're so beautiful but you don't have a man. Oh, something must be wrong with you because you're so handsome but you don't have no woman. What's wrong with you? It's not that anything is wrong with them. It's just that they haven't found the other person that's willing to grow with them. Because you have to understand, even as a person who decided to leave and to not settle anymore and grow, right, and go on this beautiful, single path of a journey for God to be able to show you the life that you're supposed to have and the things that he desires for you to have, that same person that's over there growing too, that you see, that's living their own beautiful life, sometimes even that good person that's amazing is not for you, because that's not the person that God wants you with to be able to stretch your purpose. Because you have to understand something. When you get into a relationship that is fully all about God, fully all about purpose, fully all about y'all just growing with each other, but you guys challenge each other. You're at a point where, it's a tit for tat. Y'all are running, it's a friendly competition now. And, the only competitor is still yourself. But it's different when you're doing that with somebody next to you who's doing the same exact thing. You'll never lose. You will never lose. And a lot of times, we'll see people and we think, man, gosh, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Why don't I have him? Where is that man at? Why? I see so many, but they're not for me. Because literally, y'all, you have to remember, you are meant one person, and you got to go through all these people to find it. One person. So my thing is, why waste the time? Why waste the time trying to figure that out? Why waste the time trying to go through this relationship and date here and date there and date? It's great to go on dates. It is great to have a good time. But jumping into these relationships so quickly and then feeling like, oh man, this isn't what I want. This isn't what I want. The thing is, The problem is we go through and we jump through all these relationships because we're not willing to take the time to sit, be single, and figure ourselves out and learn ourselves enough to know exactly what we want and exactly what we don't want. Because when you are single and you take the time to fully know yourself, there's no jumping in and out of relationships. You're going to know what you want and you're going to go after it. Is it always going to be perfect? No, but I trust you will get there a lot faster because you decided to stop, lay down, and figure yourself out first before you started jumping into relationships. That's the problem, is that people are trying to find themselves through other people instead of taking the time to find themselves for themselves through God. And so you end up wasting all of this time trying to figure that out. Well, I'm literally right here and I'm letting you know and I'm telling you, this is the key. This is the key. And I wish somebody was able to tell me that. This is the key to being able to find that spouse, being able to not settle and figure and the biggest thing is, this is the key to be able to find you fully. Is to find you first before any relationship. So for the ones who feel like it's too late, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not too late. And, the biggest thing is that God's going to do it anyway. He's just waiting for you to step out and know that you trust him. Because stepping out, even in the midst of everything, is a huge, huge honor. Because it's like, wow, God's looking at it like, wow, you trust me. Okay. I got you. Just let me prove it to you. I got you. And everything eventually will fall into place and those challenges will come, but God is always going to have your back. And some people think that because in some of these situations where they've gotten a child out of the situation, or they've gotten married or engaged, or and feel like, oh man, I don't want to hurt them, so I'm not going to turn around. I'm going to change my mind and just stay where I am. I'm going to settle because now that I've actually finally realized that this isn't for me, I feel like it's too late. It's not too late. And the one that is for you through the growth that you're going to have to go through being single and through having to deal with some of the situations that you have to go through to deal with, it's okay. Because God literally has your story written. Your story is finished. You're just living it back now. And he knew the decisions that you would make. He knew it. There's a plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Everything is there of what you will do. So don't settle. Do it for you. Don't do it for the best relationship in the world. Don't do it for you. Do it for you. And it is time to kiss them goodbye for the sake of you. And some people might call that selfish. Some people might call it, oh man, I don't want to. Before jumping into any relationship, do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else, because it's not for anybody else. If you step out of that settling relationship and that comfortable relationship just so you could find a good one, you're not going to be able to maintain it because you haven't gone through the pruning of the growth yet. So God is not going to let you keep something that he worked so hard to build for them, through them, by them going through their own path of growth, for you to step in and mess it up because you decided that you wanted to skip all the progression that you needed to grow by jumping in with somebody else who's already grown and then expecting to be able to grow from there. Because there are certain types of growth that you have to go through on your own before you can go through that spousal growth of having somebody to run with. Because you have to remember, it's like the Olympics. You have to train for that. You can't expect to go from a settling relationship and then jump into a growing relationship if you haven't done the growth on your own that you needed to get to that competition, to get to that new arena. If you go from here to the Olympics overnight and you didn't train, boy, you about to get dusted. You about to get dusted. And it's not going to work. And that's the same thing for a relationship. It's not going to work. So stepping out of this settling relationship, stepping out of that comfort zone, do it for you. Don't do it for nobody else. And from there, God will do the work and see you and love on you and show you who you are first. And then every secret, silent, tearful prayer that you have ever had from the deepest desires of your heart will come to fruition in due time. And there's going to be a season of waiting. And during that time, the same thing, that comfort relationship is always going to come back. It always does. Every single time. Every single time. When you were at the peak of your growth, it's going to come back. When you were at a decision-making point, whether you want to marry this girl that you found after you went through your growth, they're going to come back. And you have to recognize what the enemy is doing so that you don't fall back into that same trap. Because when you've been with somebody for 10 years and you've only gone through a year of the growth that you needed to do on your own, are you a little better than before? Yeah. Are you perfect? Nah. So seeing that person after 10 years is going to affect you a little bit. And you're going to kind of want to go to and lean back a little bit. So moving forward into this breath of fresh air of your life, completely seal the door to the past of that area of your life. Seal the door and burn the lock off. Block the number. Do everything that you need to do that is required for you. And I promise you, you will never in your life settle again, because the growth that you will go through, even though it feels like a year is a long time, I'm telling you from experience, that year of growth is no joke. And man, it is challenging, but when you are a kingdom child, you can go through anything and get through everything. So enjoy this new area of your life of not settling. And I love you guys. I hope you guys were blessed from that. I hope you guys got some good nuggets out of that. We are back again tomorrow. We are talking about the table. And you know how men are always like, oh my gosh, what do you bring to the table? What you got? What can you bring? All right, I got yams, I got peach cobbler, I got, you got all these things, etc., blah, blah, blah. But it's like, first of all, before we can bring this stuff to the table, we need the table, okay? Because someone would say, oh, I am the table. But before you can become the table got to be built. So tomorrow, 7:30 p.m., we are talking about the Table Manual, King's Edition. So tune in, same time, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. You have been listening to the Ellipsis Podcast with Deja Terry, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. And remember, don't settle.